Local programming on KRWG Public Media made possible in part by viewers like you. Thank you. Hi, I'm Scott Mercado with KRWG Public Media, and I'd like to welcome you to this episode of KRWG Music Spotlight. Our guest today describes his music as Ed Sheeran meets country and blues. He's been performing live since 2007 and estimates to have played a few thousand shows since then. Please welcome Chris Baker to KRWG Music Spotlight.
Feeling like I'm falling, got that wind rushing past my face. Feeling like I'm dying, what I said before I start to race. You say that I'm destructive, tear my own down while others thrive. You say I'm too passive, gotta make my own way, I'm gonna survive. Who was I before this? Who was I before this? Who was I before this life started passing me by? Making my way now, I might move out east, shed this weight. I'm making my patchwork, I gotta figure it out before it gets too late. But it's coming up fast now, I'm making a change if I'm on a ride. Are you coming with me? It's coming up soon, you gotta decide. Who was I before this? Who was I before this? Who was I before this life started passing me? Hitting that road now, treading my tires, losing shape. I'm taking this chance now, cross every mile through every state, but I'm not looking back now. It might be my time to shine, coming up Memphis, where the blues fell down deep inside. The blues are felt deep inside. Who was I before this? Who was I before this? Who was I before this? Who was I before this life? And this next song's on that same album, actually. This is one called Trying to Climb Here. Myself well known. How I got here, I can tell. my nose in the dirt at the top of the hill. Old time never fell. But what do you know? I thought I was sitting at the top. And I looked out, saw a higher plane. Felt I'd never reach that height and be able to remain sane. Made a lot of drops. I'm the same as I was when I started out this ride, and the difference is because of the odds I have to fight. Don't know everything I try to find. The message told me is clear. Aren't you more? And why can't you see? It seems like everybody knows what I should be safe from me and not shift gear. I'm the same as I was when I started out this ride, and the difference is because of the odds I have to fight. Don't know everything I try. I'm trying to climb. Would you help me climb? No, would you tell me what to do? Won't you help me climb? Save me from my plateau. Bring me something new. And I'm not the same as I was. Got big plans in store. I wanna dream on just because I want a whole lot more. Shake down to the core. I'm ready to climb.
So Chris, in my intro, I described your music as, according to your website, as Ed Sheeran meets country and blues. Now you said that's a little out of date now, that phrase, but what did you mean by that, and how would you describe your music now?
So basically the idea behind that was that I do the live looping like I just did, and so it's kind of, Ed Sheeran really made his career on live looping, and he's one of the pioneers that really brought it into mainstream. And so that's kind of was the idea behind that, but you know, bring it into my own thing, because I always felt like looping was such a personal thing to each musician. And everybody that's ever tried live looping as a musician, they seem to find their own pathway with it. And so it was kind of just my thing that, you know, country and blues has always kind of been my style. And so that's kind of bringing his mainstream sort of pop stuff into my own personal style.
Because your style, and I've seen you several times, played with you a few times, maybe nominally country, but there's
Right.
you have a lot of influences thrown in there.
Yeah, I mean, my influences are kind of all over the place. And so that's kind of been, it's just, whatever I've created has been, I mean, I guess it's some kind of mishmash of all that, you know, some nominal country, but also I've really gotten into Americana and folk stuff. That's kind of made its way into there, as well as modern blues kind of stuff, and it just kind of becomes what it is. And you know, there's a Vince Gill quote that I always liked, and he's just like, make whatever music you like. They can call it whatever genre they want to call it, but you know, as long as you're making music that you enjoy and you feel passionate about, there's probably going to be people that feel the same way.
Well, let's talk about those influences. Who were some of the ones when you were younger and starting out as a musician?
So when I first started out, I was really into the red dirt Texas country, late 90s, early 2000s kind of world. There was Pat Green, Cross Canadian Ragweed was kind of my early stuff. But I always really liked Johnny Cash and Merle Haggard, some of the old country guys as well. But also some of it ended up, you know, like in those days I was listening to a lot of like Linkin Park and Breaking Benjamin, so I liked some of that edgy kind of stuff too.
That's variety.
So it's kind of like all over the place. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned Texas. You're from Texas, Roscoe, Texas.
Yeah, I went to high school in little town Roscoe, Texas.
And when did you come to Las Cruces?
So I started college actually in Abilene, Texas, and that's when I first picked up a guitar when I was in college there. I'd been recruited to play basketball there, and college basketball just didn't really pan out for me. And so I had a lot of free time once I ended up leaving the team. And so I went to Hastings. You know, that's going to date me a little bit here, but I went to Hastings and bought a $100 guitar that was on the shelf there and just taught myself. And a year after that, I moved to Las Cruces to study geology. And they had a really great program and that's what brought me out to this area.
Well, that's what's always fascinated me about you. You were, before you got into music full time, you were a petroleum geologist?
Never in title, but kind of moving in that direction.
So, but what made you, would it be fair to say, give it up or made you pursue music?
Well, so I had a lot of job offers in that field coming out of college, and a lot of them actually were in pretty exotic locations. Like I got a job offer that was in the North Sea, north of Alaska, but a lot of those jobs they were saying we need like a 10-year contract, and you know, music was starting to kind of become a thing that I was making some money on and that sort of thing. And so I actually ended up taking a job at the missile range out of college, and it was part-time at first and then full-time, so I still had the ability to play music. But the company that I worked for actually got furloughed with one of the government furloughs, and so they gave us a 6-month severance package. And that was when I was like, okay, well, that gives me 6 months to see if music can be like a thing that I can make a career out of. And that was 2012 or 11, something like that, when that happened. So it's been a while that I've been running with it.
Well, let's hear the fruit of your labors. And can you perform a couple of songs for us right now?
Absolutely. I'd be happy to.
All right, thanks.
Yeah.
Body feels like it's late December. Might need to take a little rest. I crave the taste of that Kentucky bourbon with a block of ice on my top lip. You make me feel warm inside. Forget all the troubles I hide. Nothing else makes me feel alright. Like a bourbon on the rocks with you tonight. American grown, American made, aged inside a charred oak cask. Nothing else quite gets me, puts me more at ease. With you right next to me, what else could I ever ask? You make me feel warm inside. Forget all the troubles I hide. And nothing else makes me feel alright. Like a bourbon on the rocks with you, oh, with you tonight. Let's take a drive and go far enough out. No cell phone and see the Milky Way. I'll light up the fire, the red river sky. Watch the smoke rise and fade away. You make me feel warm inside. Forget all the troubles that I always hide. And nothing else makes me feel alright. Like a bourbon on the rocks with you. Like a bourbon on the rock. Like a bourbon on the rocks. Oh. These two that I'm doing in this segment here, that one's called Bourbon on the Rocks, and the next one's called Fly. These are definitely my two most requested songs at any shows that I have. And definitely two of my favorite that I've written as well. So it's kind of nice that people pick those sometimes. This is mine, it's called Fly here. That I could find a little quiet corner on, boat on the dock, I could take it on the water. Find myself on a rocket on my corner, a little bit late, half an hour long. Wrap myself up tight into a blanket, find an apple on a tree. Know I'm gonna take it, but in the end I can find that I can fake it. Walk up to the door, know I'm gonna break it. Maybe it's just what it say. Maybe I could find that I could fly, 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 and be just what you want, and I could try, a little bit longer. It's coming at me like a carny at the midway, trying to get by. Meet me at the front gate. No matter what I do, the truth is coming my way. It'll find you at the door or on the getaway. And maybe it's just what it says. Maybe I could find I could fly, 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 and be just what you want, and I can try, a little bit longer. Could say I'm terrified, and I would not deny. The first step is the hardest of 1,000. Gotta tell yourself you can take it by the dozen. Being better than you ever thought you had, and you was finding out how easy it is to give in. maybe that's just what it's saying. And maybe it's just time for me to fly, fly, fly. And be just what you want. I'm gonna try, try, try. I'm gonna fly, fly, fly. I'm gonna try. Thank you guys so much.
Well, what advice would you give, Chris, to other musicians who are also thinking about pursuing music full time? What should they consider?
It's hard, definitely one thing, and come in it with a business mindset, because it is running your own business, but also like make sure that it's what you love, because you're going to be told no a lot. You're going to be told that, you know, literally people will tell you you're not good enough to do it as a living, and people will tell you, oh, well, you're crazy that you don't have a 401k and, you know, like a backup plan. But I think that's actually one of the famous quotes with musicians is don't have a plan B, like dive into it. If it's what you love, then pursue it. You know, there's so many avenues to make money in the music business. It's changed so much, especially over the last decade. And it's just like, find your lane, find something that you're passionate about, and just dive headfirst into it.
When you were first starting out, and how long has it been now? Was it 2012 when your first album was released, right? Did you have any doubts?
Oh, yeah. So I actually, even when I went in to record that, I had just met the guy that ran that studio randomly, I think at one of my shows or something. And he brought me in to check out his studio, and I wasn't really planning on making an album at all, and it sort of just happened. Like it, you know, one domino falls into another one, and all of a sudden you have this little disc, and then you've printed it, and you have all these songs out there in the world on iTunes and stuff, and you're like, okay, well now what? You know, there's no blueprint.
It's a reality now.
Yeah, there's no blueprint out there, and that's kind of the thing. And I think it's you know, anybody that's in small business or something like that, you kind of get to a point to where it's like, well, you know, you got to make your own direction. Nobody's out there saying, there's no boss that's telling you this is what you have to do next in order to get to this next point. And I've had a lot of friends in the industry that have helped me along through the years, and there's a lot of that in the music industry as well, with camaraderie and people that have helped me and people that I've tried to help. And I think that's a big part of it too, is just find people that you mesh with, you know.
Well, do you have like a process when it comes to your songwriting? Lyrics first, music first, or?
There are processes, but I think each one starts kind of on its own. Sometimes you start with a guitar riff that really catches your ear. Sometimes I'm writing, you know, like I do some free writing journaling that'll come out of, like a song will come out of doing that, or sometimes it's kind of a combination of all the above.
Well, let's talk about probably what is still your best known song, or a fan favorite, is Fly. Fly came out on, it's from your 2018 album Doña County Sunset. What was the inspiration behind
that
Fly?
one? You know, sometimes they just come out of thin air, and that's really one that did. I had the riff that's the intro of the song, and it was a real transitional part of my life, and I think that is a big part of why you can feel the passion in that one, because it was just, there was so much going on in my life at the time, and there was so much that I wanted to do from there too. And so it just felt like such a big moment in my life and it's pretty cool that people have jumped onto that one, and that's been kind of the most requested song of mine.
Well, it's also featured on your latest album, which is called revisited.
Revisited.
An acoustic version of Fly is on this. Came out last June.
Yes, last June. So.
And some other songs, I guess, you re-recorded, including some new ones.
Yeah, so I did some new songs that I'd written, but also I really wanted to go back. I feel like I've changed as an artist a lot, and I wanted to show some of the new approaches to my music that I've come into the last few years. So it's kind of a culmination of everything, and it felt like that's a big stepping stone into the direction that I want to go with my music too. And so it was kind of passed into the future type of thing,
Right.
is what it really felt like.
Well, my thanks to you, Chris Baker, for being our musical guest today for the KRWG Music Spotlight.
Definitely.
And thank you for joining us on this episode of KRWG Music Spotlight.